Warning, this video contains spoilers for the My Hero Academia manga. Just only watch on if you don't care about spoilers or if you've already read it. NJ Todoroki, also known as Endeavor, was the number 2 hero for a very long time, as All Might was the most powerful, not just hero, but being on, planet Earth. He was so far ahead of Endeavor whenever he was in his prime. However, due to a life-sustaining injury and giving off his quirk to his successor, Izuku Midoriya, he since got weaker throughout the series. We're going to be exploring the possibility, now that Endeavor is the number 1 hero, if he ever did surpass All Might when he began to get weaker. For the smart arses out there saying that, yeah, of course he surpassed All Might after All Might retired from being a hero. He's just this old, man. But of course, we're just going to be looking at when All Might was still a hero, because that's obviously the most logical and fair thing to do here. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. We're getting close to 150 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you can get it there. And yeah, let's just get into this discussion. I think the best place to start with this video is going over what people always use to define how powerful a character is, and that's going through feats that the character produces. The best feat that Endeavor has shown has been able to clash with Shigaraki's air cannon, which was capable of taking out large parts of a city, and is therefore calculated out to be around 6.3 kilotons of TNT, which is roughly the amount you would need to take out a large town, so of course Endeavor should scale to that. All Might, on the other hand, is kind of clear that he has the much better feats. He's able to create massive storms with a single punch. The thing is, there's been different calcs for each, or for the same punch, which end up with different results somehow. But regardless, the lowest you could lowball it to was mountain level, and the highest being a large island. So even if you were to lowball All Might, he would still have the way better feats than Endeavor. So we're going to have to rely heavily on scaling for this. So, let's just get into that then. The first thing that we could look at is to see if either of them have fought a being of similar caliber to someone else that the other person has fought, or if they just fought the same person. To my knowledge, they haven't managed to fight the same person, at least not to, success, at least. But All Might was capable of fighting the Nomu that appeared in the USJ. This Nomu was stated to be one of the more powerful ones, but All Might was still able to deal with him, albeit with a little bit of difficulty, but he was still able to win. Endeavor, meanwhile, came up against Hood, the version of Nomu that is implied to be stronger than the Nomu that turned up at the USJ. It's not outright stated, but it is implied going by the manga panels. And Endeavor was able to beat Hood, albeit with even more difficulty, seeing that, he was literally fighting for his life. It could have went either way. Meanwhile, for the USJ Nomu, yeah, All Might did, exert himself a bit, but he was just really tired by the end of it, if anything, so, nothing like what Endeavor had to go through. There's also the point to bring up that All Might only really sent the USJ Nomu flying. He never actually killed him, or did any amount of damage to him, apparently. This could just be from his regeneration, but there was no visible damage when he was taken in. Meanwhile, Endeavor completely annihilated Hood, completely destroyed him. So there was that to throw into the mix as well. So to say that Endeavor is automatically then more powerful than that version of All Might is a little bit jumping the gun, because yeah, he did fight a stronger opponent, and they both did struggle, but Endeavor struggled a lot more than All Might did. Who's to say that if All Might came up against him, that he still would have won with the same amount of struggle that happened against the Nomu that turned up at the USJ. Next, I think it's time to look at, beings that may have surpassed All Might themselves and see how Endeavor did against them, to give us any sort of indication they may have surpassed All Might. So Gigantomachia was stated to be the most powerful Nomu of all time, more powerful than the high-end Nomu, definitely more powerful than the USJ Nomu. And considering the USJ Nomu is designed to, fight All Might, you could comfortably say Gigantomachia is more powerful than All Might, although obviously compared to Prime All Might, that's a little bit more for a debate. And Endeavor was able to knock over Gigantomachia with one punch. The issue was, though, Gigantomachia was restrained. So it's not exactly concrete to say that Endeavour is quite on that level. Next up is Shigaraki, right? And Shigaraki was stated by himself to be as powerful as All Might. As to Prime or just normal All Might, that's unknown, but it is most likely just, the All Might that we all got to know. And he was able to damage Shigaraki. Issue is, though, Endeavour is just kind of a walking ball of fire. And Shigaraki hasn't really shown any defenses to any sort of heat-based attacks or fire before. He has taken hits from Todoroki, but the thing is, though, he was heavily weakened there, and, it still did a fair bit of damage to him when it was even there. So, using that to say that Endeavour is more powerful than All Might is also a little bit, jumping the gun. But given all the evidence that we have here, I would argue that it is very possible that Endeavour has surpassed All Might, but there isn't an objective way to say so. The fact he was able to knock over Gigantomachia proves that he's at least somewhat on that level, bare minimum. But, again, given that these feats can be explained away, I wouldn't be so confident as to immediately brand Endeavour more powerful than All Might. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe. I will hopefully be doing more power scaling videos in the future. I guess this was just the first one to, see how it would go. And yeah, I will see you next week for the next video.